Hello, everybody. This is Nikki from It's Going to Be Okay. And today we're diving into something that's often overlooked but deeply connected to our mental health, which is clutter. And I don't mean just the piles on our corner or our counters or the laundry room waiting in the corner. I'm talking about the emotional and mental clutter that weighs us down. So, our unfinished thoughts, the guilt, the pressure to keep it all together. If you've ever looked around your home and thought, I can't keep it together, or this mess feels like my mind, this episode is for you. But sometimes the state of our surroundings reflect the state of our soul. So let's talk about how depression and anxiety can quietly hide behind clutter and how clearing our space, even just a little, can help clear our minds too. So, have you ever watched one of those hoarding shows and you think, how did this person get to that state? They didn't just wake up one day and their house was that hoarded. It started one little step at a time. One day they couldn't get out of bed. One day they couldn't clean their house. One day it just one after a day, it just piled upon itself. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So, number one, clutter is often a reflection of overwhelm. It's not laziness. So, when depression or anxiety sets in, our mind gets drained, our energy gets drained. So, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. The clutter we see isn't about laziness, it's about the overwhelm. So, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I say the scripture a lot. And I say it a lot because it's true. We need to hear this over and over because we forget that God is going to give us the rest that we need. And we need to ask for help. We need to ask for help from our friends and we need to ask for help from God because He's going to give us the rest that we need from Him mentally and emotionally. So, how do we get started with this when we see this overwhelm and we're like, how do I get started with cleaning this up? So, number one is begin by setting gentle boundaries around your energy. It's okay to say, I can't do it all today. So, I used to think that I'm going to declutter my whole house in a weekend. Yeah, that doesn't ever happen. I have yet to do that in a whole weekend. So now I just say, okay, I'm going to start on this one area and I'm going to get it tidy. And even if it's just the nightstand, because if y'all have seen my nightstand, you'd be like, girl, that's going to take you all day to get that done. Because sometimes I just, whatever is like in my pockets or in my clothes or in my hands or my hair, the jewelry, whatever, it all will mostly end up on the nightstand, okay? Time after time, the nightstand will become the big pile that's gonna fall over. Yeah, so you gotta just break it down into small increments and just do one little thing at a time. So as you clear it, take a deep breath and pray, "Oh, Lord, help me release what no longer serves me." I don't know about you, but when I have decluttered something that has been there for a long time, yeah, I forgot about it. And I thought, you know what? If I have forgotten about it, a lot of times I don't need it. So if I don't need it, I'm just either one, it's probably trash. Two, I could donate it. Or three, I could put it back in its rightful place. Nora. Yes, my dog is up here again. And you get rid of a lot less things. So if I haven't seen something in 6 months to a year, I donate it. I now keep a box in my laundry room and I fill it up. Once it's filled up, I put it in my car, I take it to the donation place. Okay? I know I've talked about this in the past. There's some places that you can call and they will come to your house and pick up your donations. Yeah, so you can just check those places out in your area. I know my area, they will come and pick them up. So small acts of care invite peace into spaces that once felt heavy. So right now, I am trying to clear out our bedroom to where it's just a bedroom, right? Before it was a place of let's watch TV in here. Before now it's a place where, oh, we feed one of our cats in here because he is a two-ton piglet, and if we put him with the rest of the animals, he tries to eat their food too because that's just who he is. So I told him the other day that his dispenser is getting moved someplace else and to prepare himself. And then I keep my essential oils in there because I put together my own, like, body oil and our diffusers in there. And so I'm going to move those someplace else because I just want our bedroom to be a place where we sleep. Now, getting my husband to realize that is going to be a different story because he just thinks that whatever room you're doing something in, that's okay. Okay, so then number 2, emotional clutter builds up when we don't process what we feel. So, of course, I'm a product of the 70s and the 80s where many of us pushed down our pain to stay strong, but those unprocessed feelings pile up like unopened mail. Who has thrown away unopened mail? I have for sure. Always there, always waiting on us. So cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. First Peter 5:7. So God wants us to tell him about our problems, which I think is a win-win because you tell God and you don't have to tell nobody else. Nobody else has to know about it. Nobody knows will hear about your anxiety and your craziness and your weirdo thoughts that you have, and I know in the past I have confided in people and they looked at me like, "Oh, you're one of those ladies." But I'm like, "Did I just do a faux pas?" So, anyway, I was like, "Oh, maybe I should have said that out loud." But you know what? You can tell that to Jesus and nobody will know. So, how do we get started getting rid of our emotional clutter? So, take 10 minutes in quiet or meditation with God. So, I've started doing something very new. If anybody knows me, I'm not a morning person. And there's been changes in my medication. And so it's been easier to wake up in the morning, which is pretty good. So I've been waking up and doing my prayer journaling and then reading the Bible. And that's been very refreshing and it prepares my day, which I mean, it prepares my day, but I think it helps me tone myself down so that other people can deal with me better. Because especially with some changes in my medication, people are getting the full force 100% Nicky, and I don't know if they can handle that or not. And I'm afraid one day it may backfire on me. Yeah. And so when you're, when you're taking your 10 minutes in quiet time or your meditation with God or you're praying, just ask, what's the one thing I need to release today? I know you probably have 100 things like I might need 100 things that I need to release today and get rid of. But sometimes maybe it's just a good thing just to get rid of one thing, right? So, what is that one thing, you know, what is at the top of the list that you could probably is more urgent that you could probably get rid of? And And I have a just a little notebook that I keep with my Bible, and then I just write that thing down, which comes up to the next point, which is journal or pray through what comes up. So what is that one thing that you're struggling with or that is most prominent in your mind? And then you'll just write about it or pray, about that thing. And of course, don't judge yourself. Just simply give it over to God. It's just between you and Him. Nobody else, like I said, nobody else has to know about it. That's the whole beauty of the praying and giving it over to God or just telling God about it because He's not going to judge you, right? I could tell things to people and I could see in their face, like, yeah, you're crazy. So I don't ever get that look when I'm talking to God about it. So when you are clearing your emotional clutter, this begins with creating space to feel and surrender instead of constantly holding it all in. So when we're getting rid of our emotional clutter, and we don't have to get rid of it all at once. Holy cow. We would probably be journaling day and night, praying day and night, do an intercessory prayer, fasting 30 days, whatever it would take to get rid of that stuff. So God's like, let's just even this out. Let's just deal with this a little bit at a time, people, okay? Not for his sake, because he can take care of it all at once. But it would be best for us if we would just deal with one thing at a time and just each day just do handle the one thing that's most prominent on our list, right? Hello, everybody. This is Nikki from It's Going to Be Okay podcast, your Christian life coach, and someone that's going to be here for you through thick and thin. I want to get on here and go over my goals that I have been trying to achieve. And my goal is to help women who suffer with depression and anxiety. And I have benefited greatly from life coaching. And so I want to offer that free to others. So my podcast is a space for open, honest, and faith-filled conversations about mental health, personal growth, and navigating life challenges. So drawing from my own experiences with depression and anxiety, I share practical insights, inspiring stories, and biblical encouragement to help you find peace and direction. Alongside my podcast, I offer a 6-week free Christian life coaching program designed to help you get your life back on track, rebuilding routines, setting achievable goals, and creating space for balance and intentional living. So whether you're seeking guidance to manage your emotions, reflections to deepen your self-awareness, or a supportive community that understands your struggles, each episode provides hope and actionable strategies to empower your journey. So tune in and take the first step toward a more focused, purposeful, and faith-centered life. So if you're interested in my 6-week free Christian life coaching program, please email me at Nicky Asher-Bowling coaching at gmail.com with the word free coaching in the subject line. So again, my email is NICKYASHERBOWLING at gmail.com. Yes, I could have made my email longer, so you're welcome. Have a great day, and I look forward to working with you. So number 3, so with small physical actions, we create mental and spiritual momentum. And that's what we end up doing when we deal with it one little thing at a time. So depression often whispers, what's the point? But faith reminds us that even small beginnings matter. One drawer, one prayer, one step forward. So do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Zechariah 4:10. So what we're going to do is just pick up one simple task that you can complete in 10 minutes or less. If you've watched YouTube, you know that some people have struggle getting started or they have struggle completing something. So they will set a timer for 10 minutes and they will work with a timer. Or growing up, we would play music and we would work, we would clean or we would declutter while we listened to the music. And when you finish, you thank God for the progress, not for perfection. You like, thank God I got that finish. That's a load off, right? So your momentum builds when we celebrate progress and we don't punish ourselves for where we're not yet. When I started on my journey long ago to work through my depression and to put systems in place to help me deal with depression where I wasn't getting things done, where I could barely get out of my bed every morning, I kept focusing on, "I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet." And instead of focusing on that, I was just focusing on just doing the next step, getting up, getting dressed, going to work, doing my work, getting off work. And then the next day, I would just start over again. And before long, 1 year turned into 2 years, and when I look back, I had accomplished so much because I wasn't focusing on the end result. I hadn't made it to the end yet. I still haven't made it to the end. But when I look back to where I started, I've come so far. I'm not going to put myself down for that because I've accomplished a lot. And I've accomplished a lot of goals in that time. And I'm really proud of myself for the things I've done. And so that's what you need to do. And even if you have to sit down and write down the things that you're proud of what you've done, even if it's just, I got up today, I put deodorant on, I brushed my teeth, I combed my hair. That's for someone who deals with depression and anxiety, that's a lot. That is a lot. Someone who is frozen in time. I know where you are and I know where you can go. And that's why I still continue to do these podcast episodes because it doesn't just stop. I may be ahead of you in the journey, but I still have down days. I've just learned how I've built those muscles to where I can deal with it better. And that's what you need to do. You just got to keep practicing and keep going and keep getting up and keep going over it. It's like a runner. A runner just doesn't get up and run a 2K and win. They got to get up every day. They got to exercise. They got to eat right. They got to stretch. They got to lift weights. And they do it every day, you know, until, and then they compete. Do they win sometimes? Yes. Do they win sometimes? No. But then they reevaluate and they go back and see, okay, when I did this turn, I did this, I need to do better. I went too fast in the beginning or I slowed down at this rate. I'm not a runner, so I don't know. I would have just passed out at the beginning. But anyway, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. You go back and you reevaluate. I've had to reevaluate myself, I don't know how many times, because some of the things that I thought I needed to do weren't working for me. So I had to come up with a backup plan. Okay, that didn't work, so let's try this. So I would try something different. And like with decluttering, I got some storage things I put in my drawers. I thought that would help me be more organized. I realized, okay, that's not, I tried them for 2 years and I realized, okay, that's a load of crap. So I don't like using those. So I've gotten rid of them. I do something else now. And you just have to reevaluate yourself. So number 4, your environment impacts your mood and connection with God. So a cluttered space can make it harder to think, pray, or feel close to God. So when we create order, we also create room for peace and his presence. So that's the whole point of working on a cluttered space is because we want to be closer to God. We want to be able to think and to pray. And we also want to be able to get closer to our loved ones, your spouse, your kids. So it's not just for a closer relationship with God, but it's also a quiet time for yourself. It's also a quiet time with your family. So let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 14:40. To set quiet time boundaries, we would need to turn off the TV, silent notifications, and make space for stillness. So, people, you don't need your phones, okay? You don't have to have your phones. You don't have to have the TV on. We grew up, we were poor, we didn't have a phone. And most of the time we had a TV, but it had one channel on it. And that had rabbit ears. It was staticky most of the time. As we got older, my mom could afford cable sometimes. So seriously, we didn't have TV a lot of the times I was growing up. And a lot of times when I had my kids, I was single, couldn't afford cable, so we didn't have it. And so you know what now? We have internet. And I decided at the beginning of this year, I was getting rid of all the paid prescriptions. What am I saying? Subscriptions. Because I was like, I'm not paying for anything extra. So I got rid of the subscriptions. Excuse me. And we paid for one. I'm sorry, we paid for two. One for my husband some person that he likes. And then the other one was just a yearly for 24 bucks. But other than that, the rest of them, see, I had paid for all of mine yearly. So I just waited for them to all run out. And we just got waiting for one to run out, and then we're done. So set quiet time boundaries. So now I sit there and I have more quiet time alone. It's just my husband and I now. Our kids left us. They suck. So I wish they would come back and see me more, but they don't. But if you have kids, I wish I had done this more when the kids were younger or when I had kids was now the ones there's a caveat to that. When it was bedtime, they went to bed. Now, I was not someone that said, "You gotta go to sleep right now." I said they could stay they didn't have to go to sleep, but they had to lay in their beds, and they could read or they could just lay there quietly, and as they got older, they did like high school, they did have a TV in their rooms. They would watch something. Then after they graduated, they played video games. The video game I'm so sick of video games. But anyway, when they were younger, all the way up to high school, they had to be in bed by 8:30, but they would go to sleep till 9:30, 10 o'clock. But they would lay in their bed and read with a little light on or something. I bought them one of those little lights that clipped on the edge of on their headboard. Nora, no. They would clip on their headboard and they could turn it on, and then they would just fall asleep. Something else you could do is light a candle, breathe deeply, and invite God into your space. So just quiet time, close your eyes. I don't like candles. Sometimes I do in the wintertime, but I didn't I used to light candles all the time until I had a child named Oliver who tried to burn my house down. So after that, well, he didn't try to burn my house down. He tried to burn his hand down. So after that, I never had them. But anyway, now you can. Now I can if I wanted to. But something like that, just some ambiance, just quiet time, invite God into your heart, or just have some quiet meditation time if you're not into all that. But and just say, God or Lord, help me make my home a reflection of your peace. Yes, families' homes are so chaotic. How can you bring the peace into your home? First of all, get rid of all the noise and the chaos, okay? Whatever the noise is, cut it out. Turn the radios off, turn the whatever it is that's causing noises in your house, turn it off. Just turn it off. Kids are being loud, make them sit down, be quiet. I was telling somebody that if we went on a trip I know what was the cause of it. I'm not going to say what the cause of it was, but we were around some kids, family. Kids were acting crazy in a small space. So they were not at home. Kids are more comfortable at home. They were acting out. they were not a little overstimulated, they were way overstimulated. So anytime the kids and we were out on a trip or had to go someplace, they would always get overstimulated because they were in an environment they weren't used to, and then they had to behave themselves. If I'm always like, "Hey, come on, be good, be quiet, cut that out, stop that, stop touching things, put your hands in your pocket," then by the time we were going home, they would be wacko, right? So, when we would get home, I just made it a rule that everybody had to sit on their beds or lay on their beds for 15 minutes. And that just gave everybody time to decompress and diffuse and get the words hate out of their heads and murderous thoughts and I'm going to choke you if you do that one more time. I think that was more for mom than anybody else, but it really helped. And it just got everybody to decompress and we were a loving, happy family after that. Because it is when you're out in public with kids and adults and you have to behave, even for parents, it's hard. It really is hard. Just you want your home to be a home of peace. So, what are some things that you can do to make it a home of peace? If you have to put yourself in your room for quiet time, you put yourself in your room for quiet time. There's nothing wrong with that. So, when the outer world feels calmer, your inner world begins to follow. So, that's the point that I'm trying to make is that when everything in your home is quiet, then your inner self will follow along with it. You won't have rage inside. So that was the whole point of number 4. So decluttering is a form of self-care and spiritual renewal. So clearing out clutter isn't just about tidying up. It's about making room for healing, clarity, and God's renewal. So create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalms 51:10. Spend time meditating on this verse as you clear your space. Ask God to show you what needs to stay and what needs to go, not just in your home, but in your heart. I have a lot of clutter that shows up in my heart, and I really have to spend time prayer journaling and actually talking to God to get rid of a lot of that junk because I like to hold on to stuff. I will hold on to stuff forever, and I will remind you of it for a long time. So I don't need that. I don't need to do that. So when my negative thoughts creep in, gently remind yourself, this is my renewal season. Clearing space is sacred work. You're not just cleaning a room, you're preparing your heart for peace. So I just love that. You're clearing space is sacred work. You're not just cleaning a room, you're preparing your heart for peace. I really love that. So as you go about your week, I want you to remember this. The clutter isn't a reflection of your worth. It's just a sign that you've been surviving. So you take one step today, clear a surface, take a deep breath, pray over that space, and remind yourself it's going to be okay. So if this episode encouraged you, please share it with someone who might need a little help today. And don't forget to subscribe to It's Going to Be Okay wherever you listen and connect with me on Facebook and YouTube for more encouragement throughout the week. And until next time, friend, take a deep breath, take it slow, and remember, it's always okay to start small. Bye.